Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone around the world. Thank you very much for joining the webinar today. My name is Ashwin, and I'm a marketing analyst at Zoho Analytics. I'm joining you today from Chennai. Artificial intelligence is developing at breakneck speed across multiple business functions, seamlessly weaving intelligence into the fabric of any organization. Keeping intelligence at the heart of analytics, we have beefed up our augmented analytics capabilities to meet your ever evolving business needs. And now we are back with another edition of What's New in Zoho Analytics. In this webinar, you'll learn about all the new and exciting AI enhancements and functionalities we have built into the platform in the third quarter of 2020 that can empower your teams with actionable insights. Here's the agenda for the day. We get started with the scheme of things. Switching gears, we're going to learn what's new in Zoho Analytics in Q3 2020. With a quick summary of the webinar, we head straight into an interesting Q&A session. All right, now to help you understand the new enhancements and functionalities we have built into the platform, I've broken them down into four categories. They are data integration, visual analysis, collaboration, and intelligence. In each of these sections, I will discuss the key features that we have released in quarter three of this year. All right, so we have a few people who are new to Zoho Analytics. So, quick introduction of Zoho Analytics. It's a self service business intelligence and analytics platform. It was launched in the year 2009 as one of the pioneers in the self service BI space. Today, Zoho Analytics enjoys the loyalty of more than 10,000 happy customers and more than 2 million users spread across 150 countries. Well, Zoho Analytics can help you fetch your data from more than 250 data sources. And with all that data inside Zoho Analytics, you can visually analyze them in the form of pre-built reports and dashboards available as a default offering with select business applications. On top of that, you can also build your own reports and dashboards using the drag and drop interface, or the ML powered AI assistant can get you the relevant insights you need by simply asking questions in natural language. Zoho Analytics also empowers you with more than 50 ways of visually analyzing your data in the form of charts, tables, dashboards, widgets, and a lot more. Doesn't end there. You can also collaborate with your teams. You can have these reports and dashboards shared with individuals or with groups. You can have them embedded inside your websites or your custom built applications in the context of your workflow. You can have these reports and dashboards up and running on big screens as slideshows. The commenting feature helps you to collaborate contextually for quicker and better business decisions. Now, with that introduction, let's head straight into what's new in Zoho Analytics in Q3. And we're going to get started with data integration. Well, we all know that you can get data into Zoho Analytics in the form of files and feeds from local databases, cloud databases, and also from popular business applications. Our product and engineering teams are constantly working towards extending our direct integrations with business applications based on your emerging business needs. Now, here's the good news for CXOs, CFOs in particular, business owners, finance teams, and others. These are the set of finance connectors that Zoho Analytics currently offers. You can integrate with Xero, Zoho Books, QuickBooks, Shopify, your e-commerce platform, Exact ERP, and also with Stripe. Now, we have beefed up our capabilities, and now you can integrate your Zoho Analytics account with Sage. You get access to more than 50 plus pre-built reports and 6 pre-built dashboards. Using these reports and dashboards, you can visually analyze your data in the form of powerful geomaps, stack bars, line charts, widgets, pivot tables, and a lot more. They can get you quick insights into your finance status, purchases, sales, vendors, and customers, which means you don't have to build any of these reports, but they're available ready made for you. To top it all, you can also perform your own analysis. The custom analytics enables you to build your own reports and dashboards apart from the pre built reports and dashboards. Going a mile further, you can also blend data from your sales application or from a marketing application, be it your help desk application or a HR application, with Sage data for cross functional analysis, for cross functional insights. All right, so I'm going to show you how this looks in Zoho Analytics. To integrate your Sage account with Zoho Analytics account, the first thing you're going to do is to import your data from Sage. How do you do that? Just click on the import your data button on the top right hand side corner. By doing so, you get access to the data sources or the integrations that Zoho Analytics directly offers. So you have the list of business applications with which Zoho Analytics can directly integrate, laid out as tiles on this page. So I'm going to quickly move to the Finance tab, and this is my Sage Accounting tile. So I click on that, and with a few simple steps, you got to just authenticate your Sage account. And depending on your data size or data volume, it takes time to get your data into Zoho Analytics. I'm not going to show you how the authentication works, but rather let's have a look at what this integration can get for your business. So once you have your data inside Zoho Analytics, a workspace gets created, and this is the workspace that I have created for this demonstration. The different modules from your Sage account gets pushed into Zoho Analytics in the form of tables, and the different fields within those modules get captured in the form of columns. So I'm going to quickly show you one such table, and this can be accessed under the data tab. This is your sales invoice module from Sage. It's now in the form of a table in Zoho Analytics. The different fields such as sales invoice ID, date, status ID are all laid out in the form of columns, and the entire module is available in the form of a sheet that helps you to get started instantly without any IT assistance. Now, with a quick prerequisite to this integration, let's move on to understand the kind of insights that you can derive through this integration. So these are the set of pre-built dashboards that are available, which means you don't have to build any of these, but it's an outcome of the integration. And these are the 50 plus pre-built reports that are available for you, again, as an outcome of this integration. I'm going to quickly show you a few dashboards to understand the depth of this integration and also the kind of business insights this integration can get for your business. This dashboard that you see here is your finance overview dashboard. So your key KPIs such as assets, liabilities, revenue, expenses, current liability are all stationed here in the form of widgets on top of the dashboard. You can add more KPIs that you want to track in the form of widgets to the same dashboard depending on your business needs. Scrolling further down, you have reports that support these KPIs. You have assets versus liabilities monthly trend. You have your revenue versus expenses monthly trend report. I'm going to quickly maximize that for you to show you how you can forecast your revenues and your expenses for the next few months. So, this dotted line that you see here is your forecasted revenue trend for the next few months. Similarly, this dotted line in orange is your forecasted expenses for the next few months. This continuous blue line that you see here is your trend line that helps you to identify the trend in your data set. As you can see, this data, you have multiple peaks and multiple valleys. You may not be able to precisely get a trend out of that, whereas this trend line comes in handy to give you a high level picture of how your KPIs are progressing over the past few months, and also it works fine for the forecasted data as well. Let me scroll further down. You have other interesting reports like your accounts receivable versus account payable, your operating income versus operating expenses. You also have your monthly cash flow trend. As you can see, I have forecasted the cash flows for the next few months. Using these data points, you can take them as baselines to plan your business activities proactively, to define targets, to set your business goals. I also have a trend line here indicating the trend in my cash flows. And you have a lot of other reports like your profit monthly trend, your gross profit monthly trend, and so on and so forth. So, this finance overview dashboard gives you a high level understanding of your company's financial position by collecting all the important KPIs for your business and creating a mission control dashboard from which you can track all the key metrics to make sure that your business is in good shape. All right. On top of your finance metrics, you can also track your non finance metrics. So I'm going to pull out the sales insights dashboard. You have your sale invoices generated, sales in October, your projections, your cost of sale, and other KPIs captured as widgets right here on top of the dashboard. Further down, you have other set of reports, your sales trends by invoice status, your sales invoice distribution by age tier, and this report clearly indicates that you have a lot of invoices raised before 180 days. You have the customer refund monthly status trend, and a lot of other reports that essentially talks about your sales and your sales invoices. I'm going to pull out one last dashboard which gives you deeper insights on your customers. You have a total count of your customers, where are they from, based on sales invoices, who's that customer who has the highest outstanding, and a lot of other KPIs here as widgets. You have the customer distribution by country, visually analyzed in the form of a geomap. And by mouse over, you get to find out the number of customers in that country. And the size of the bubble indicates the number of customers as well. So you just have a glance at the report, you get to see where your customers are distributed. You have the top 10 customers by sale, and I have sliced and diced the customer data to build a lot of other reports that can give you deeper insights on your customers. All right, so by integrating Zoho Analytics with Sage, you get not just your financial metrics, but also you get deeper insights into your non finance metrics like your customers, your vendors and also on your purchase details as well. All right, so let's switch back to our presentation. Now, let's move on to the next update in data integration. And this might be of interest for enterprises. Zoho Analytics can now help you fetch your data from local databases. We now offer connections with SAP HANA and also with Hive. So using Zoho Data Bridge, you can get your data from these two new local databases that I have listed here on the screen. You can also synchronize data at a periodic interval. You can set schedules to import your data. Well, you can also have your data imported into an existing workspace from SAP HANA and from Hive. Now you can also import data from a hosted service on which is hosted on multiple networks or on private clouds. All you got to do is just install various data bridges for each of these networks. Now, with that, we are going to now move to the next section, and that's on visual analysis. So, we're going to discuss what's new in visual analysis in Zoho Analytics. All right, now we have a new chart type added to our basket of visualizations, and that's histograms. You can use histograms to summarize discrete or continuous data. You can also use histograms to understand the distribution of data, which may not be possible using a bar graph. Histograms can also be used for identifying your outliers. And finally, they can be used for understanding the outcome of a process. Now, the outcome analysis can help you determine whether the output of a process is distributed normally. Let me show you an example, and that'll get you a better understanding on how histograms can be used. We got another new chart type added to our set of visualizations. These are horizontal bar charts. Let's say earlier you wanted to swap the X and Y axis in your bar chart. Earlier you had to manually swap, you had to drag and drop the X metric into the Y box and drag and drop the Y metric into the X box. Now it's made easy. You can just use the horizontal bar charts. Let's say you do it manually, but what if you have multiple metrics on Y axis? What do you do then? You can just click, and at the click of a button, you'll be able to have your vertical charts converted into horizontal charts. Not just that, but also if your X axis is text heavy, then readability becomes a concern. So, to enhance readability, you can use these horizontal bar charts. And I'm now going to show you an example on Zoho Analytics. First, let's have a look at histograms. All right, so this chart here is pretty powerful for a warehouse manager. I have analyzed my quantities sold by unit price. As a warehouse manager, I would want to understand the kind of products that I need to stock so that I don't run out of stocks. So I have now bucketed my unit price into 9 or 10 buckets, and I have analyzed how in each of these buckets the quantities have been. As you can see, this histogram clearly indicates that my distribution is right skewed, which means a large portion of my data is more concentrated towards the left hand side. As a warehouse manager, if I were to use a bar chart, probably I might end up stocking products with the unit price between 0 and 50K because That's what you see here as the bin that has the highest number of products sold. Whereas if I were to use a histogram like what you see here, as a warehouse manager, I get to understand that I should probably be looking at the first three bins because that is where a large portion of my data is concentrated. So, this helps you to analyze your continuous data in the form of a distribution rather than analyzing it discretely. That helps you to find out where your data is concentrated. Now, if I were to look at this bar that's between 400K and 450K, that might be probably an outlier for me for if I were to put a priority on my purchases. I'm not discrediting this particular bin between 400K and 450K, but that may not be my priority. My priority would be to stock more products between 0 and 150K and in phase one, and then I might want to look at 400K to 450K as my phase two for stocking up my warehouse. So this helps you to understand the distribution of data, giving you a perspective on what action you need to take using histograms. All right, now let me show you a few examples for the horizontal bar charts. I'm going to take this report here. I have the top 10 services purchased. On x axis, I have the name of the service, and on y axis, I have the quantities. As you can see, the x axis is kind of text heavy, so the readability might be a concern. So I'm going to swap this into a horizontal bar chart, and I have it crystal clear. I'm able to now precisely see which are these services, and I'm also able to visually compare the quantities purchased if I were to use a horizontal bar chart. I'm going to save that report now, and I'm going to take another report for you. This is my sales versus cost by product category. I have multiple y axes. You can see you have total sales to the left hand side and total cost to the right hand side. This might look a little confusing, so I'm going to now switch to a horizontal bar chart, and maybe I want to make it a 100% horizontal stack bar chart. That's it. This helps me to analyze my data in a better way. So you saw the example of having a text heavy x axis, and then I just showcased how multiple metrics on y axis can be easily analyzed using horizontal bar charts. I'm going to show you one last example, and you have it here. You have the sale of products by region. You have three regions. You have it in the form of a vertical stack bar. I'm going to switch this to 100% horizontal stack bar. And this helps me to analyze this data in a more effective manner. This visual analysis is much better than what it was earlier. So these are some of the examples for using horizontal bar charts that can help you enhance the readability. In case you have places where you want to swap these axes, then probably horizontal bar charts can be useful. The next update in visual analysis is about optimizing your views for pivot tables. What can this do? It can help you hide columns for better analysis. It gives you a more decomposed view for visual understanding. It encourages interactivity. So I'm going to show you how you can play around with this feature for quick analysis. And finally, This high degree of interactivity helps you perform ad hoc analysis on the go. So I'm going to get back to Zoho Analytics to show you an example. Now, this is a pivot table where I have analyzed my sales, cost, and profit year on year across product categories and products. I have data for 2016, 17, 18, and 19, and also for 2020. Let's say for the year 2018, I want to compare only my sales and profit. And for that particular year, I don't want the cost column to be featured here. So all I got to do is just click on cost, navigate to show hide column, and I say hide cost. For the year 2018, I have only my sales and profit. It helps you have a clearer comparison of these two metrics by eliminating that one particular column, to be precise, by hiding that one particular column. Let's say I want to do that for all the years. So I need not go to each of these columns to click and hide the cost. I just click on cost on any one of the years and I say hide all costs. And the cost column for all the years are now hidden. Let's say I want cost for some particular year, and I don't want the profit for another year, and I don't want the sales for another year. How do I customize that? Click on any of the data point and then you go to show a hide column and hit more. This is where you get to customize your view. Say for 2016, you want only the sales and cost. You don't want the profit data there. For 2017, you just want the sales and cost. Again, you don't want the profit. You don't want the data for 2018, 2019, and 2020. Let's say you want only the cost and the profit, and you hit OK. You're able to get that right here on the screen. So this high degree of interactivity that this feature offers helps you perform ad hoc analysis, and within few clicks you're able to analyze the data in the way you want it. I'm going to quickly save this and let's get back to our presentation. All right, so with that, we're going to move to the next section. We're going to learn what's new in collaboration. We work with a lot of third parties like ad agencies, with contract employees. There are a lot of shared insights that keep shuffling between the agencies and the company. These are your reports and dashboards shared with them in the form of private links. Let's say your contract expires in 6 months or in a year. Let's say you are in on a retainer contract with an ad agency for a year, and post your retainer contract, what happens to those reports and dashboards? So earlier you had to delete those links consciously to call off those reports and dashboards, whereas today you have an expiry date that you can define at the time of sharing. You can just hit the share button, and under the embed section, under the access permission section, this is where you get to define your expiry date for this link. I've attached a screenshot here on the slide. In case you want to extend this expiry date, you can very well change the date at any point of time. Or in case you leave it as such, after that particular date, your link expires and the person does not get access to those links. So that ensures high level of data security when you have collaborated efforts where you have reports and dashboards shared with third parties. The next update is on contextual request for access. So let's say you want to access a report or a dashboard that is not shared with you. Earlier, you had to reach out through other channels, like you had to email that person, or maybe you had to call them explain to them, write to them which report they're talking about, and all of that. Whereas today, this request access is now available in the context of your workflow. So, this green button that you see here on the screenshot, you can just click on that, and the concerned stakeholders get notified that you're trying to access that particular link. All right, folks, so let's move to the next section that's on intelligence. This is probably the hallmark feature enhancement for the day. Well, AI is the future, and our teams are constantly building features around this. We want to democratize analytics through search driven analytics interface. This means you just ask questions, and the intelligence built inside the product can get you the relevant insights in the form of reports or widgets. Now, we are also witnessing an increasing adoption of Ask Ziya, the intelligent assistants inside Zoho Analytics. Well, what are the enhancements? Ziya can now understand unstructured or incomplete conversations. This means you have a grammatically unstructured or incomplete question. Ziya can understand these questions to get you the right answers. Let's say you um, pose a question. Ziya understands the intent of the conversation. Well, Ziya is now equipped with typo tolerance. It can also understand misspelled words to get you right the correct insights. And finally, it can comprehend short dates and weekends and also weekdays. So, folks, I'm now going to quickly demonstrate this on Zoho Analytics. Now, you can access Ziya from here. It's one of the tabs, or probably the fifth tab inside the control panel. And you click, and this is the search driven Ziya interface. All right, so let's now ask a first question, which is not very structured. Now, I want to understand my total monthly sales. So I'm going to say total sales monthly. I have it there. I have the monthly sales. I have posed an incomplete or an unstructured question. Now let's try and confuse Ziya. Let me add by category. I have the breakup of this total sales, monthly sales by category. I have three product categories: furniture, grocery, and stationery. Ziya understands my question and it gives me a suitable report. Now, let's interact further. Let's say for the last 12 months, you have it there. You have Ziya presenting a report of the total monthly sales across three product categories for the last 12 months. All right, so that explains the first two enhancements where you pose an incomplete question or an unstructured question. Probably this could have been structured in a better way, like you say, show me the total monthly sales for the last 12 months by category. But I try and mix it up and I post that question. Ziya is able to understand that and get me the right report. Now let's try some typos. I'm going to find out the cost price by category. I have the cost price broken down for the three categories. I have the word price misspelled here. Now, let's add for the last 12 months, and you have it there. The data is now calculated. As you can see here, the filtered values are for the last 12 months. It's totaled that up against the category, and it has presented here in the form of a bar graph. Now, let's try out another example. Let's say the sales by product category, by product category. You have it there again. The sales for the three product categories represented here in the form of a bar chart. Now, I also did mention to you that Ziya can now understand short dates like month on month, year on year. So let's understand the sales versus cost month on month. This MOM month on month is something that Ziya can understand, and it has given me the cost versus sale month on month. So these are the kind of enhancements that we have brought into Ziya. So we did understand the kind of frequent use cases. We tried understanding which are the areas probably we need to build more intelligence into Ziya, and we did come out with things like Ziya able to understand unstructured queries, incomplete questions, typo tolerances, short dates, like weekdays or weekends. With that, folks, we are winding up the four categories for the day. So, quick rundown of things. So, we saw in the data import category, we had a new update. We have a new integration where Zoho Analytics can now integrate with Sage. We understood the uh, powerful pre-built reports and dashboards and the kind of insights that it can get. We also saw how Zoho Analytics can now get data from SAP HANA and from Hive. In the visual analysis bucket, we had a couple of new visualizations added to our basket of visualizations. We have new histograms and horizontal charts. We saw where they can be used and how useful they are. We also saw how pivot views can be optimized using the show and hide column feature. For the collaboration part of it, we saw how expiry dates are useful in ensuring data security. The contextual request access makes things easier for you to grant access or ask for access for a view that's not shared with you. And some of the key highlights for the day in the intelligence section is Ziya can now understand incomplete or unstructured conversations. It can understand the intent of your conversations. We also saw how Ziya can now understand uh, typographic errors and give you the necessary insights. And also, Ziya can understand short dates like month on month, year on year, and also weekdays and weekends. All right, folks. So, all this time, the questions were mine. Now they are yours. We are moving to the interesting section of the day. It's a Q&A section. A couple of FAQs before we hand it over to Silas. This webinar is being recorded, and we will definitely share a copy of this recording with you. So I now invite Silas, a good friend of mine, to join me in helping us answer some key questions. So I encourage you to post your questions inside the questions box. Yeah, and over to Silas.
Thank you, Ashwin. Thanks for the great webinar. I hope all the new updates in the product in last quarter was super helpful for most of the customers. All right, so let's step into the Q&A session without any further ado. So let's start with the first question. I got the question from Van that, do you have connector for SAP HANA? Is it possible to have for SAP R3? Well, yes, one currently we have the connection for SAP HANA. So in the Zoho Analytics data bridge, which is typically used to connect any local databases or to upload the huge files, you can install the Zoho data bridge. And in the data bridge, now we also support the SAP HANA. So you can import the data from there. But when it comes to SAP R3, I guess SAP HANA is obviously the successor of SAP R3. So we do not have any direct integration with SAP R3. But if you have any chance of accessing the backend database using any JDBC drivers, then yes, it is possible to connect using the Zoho Analytics data bridge, because the data bridge has the capability to connect any databases that supports the JDBC drivers. If you need any assistance on it, please get in touch with us through the support. All right, so the next question is from Oliver. Can I have a single workspace with both Zoho CRM and Zoho Desk data? That is, blend Zoho CRM data with data from Zoho Desk. Yes, Oliver, it is possible to solve your requirement. All you need to do is first set up the Zoho CRM integration in Zoho Analytics. And in the same workspace, if you open at the left, please click on Create and choose the new data option or import option, where you'll be able to find the list of tiles. Please go ahead and choose the Zoho Desk. The greatest advantage here is, as long as you have a relationship between these two applications, Zoho Analytics can automatically understand the data model between these two sources, and it can connect, blend, and provide some blended reports as well. So it's kind of like completely automated. I'm pretty sure that will be super helpful for you. Please try it out. If you need any help, get in touch with us. All right, I got a question from Suresh that text section in graph, there is an option to display only one field. I believe what you're referring to is in the chart, the data labels you're able to see the option to display only one field in the data shelf. Yes, currently it is the possibility. I mean, you can have only one field in the text, that is the data label shelf. However, inside the chart settings, you also have the option to enable the appropriate y-axis data or data points as the data labels. So maybe if you use that, that could solve your requirement. So probably like we need to check out your requirement in detail to address more on that. The next question is from arts, I guess. So it's can the value of the criteria in the histogram be unequally divided? For example, like 0 to 50, 50 to 150, 150 to 500, 500 to 1000, and so on. Yes, it is not possible to directly define these different range of intervals right away in the chart settings. However, you have the option to create the formula column in the data level. So if you open the base table on which you build this the histogram chart, you have the option to create a formula column with nested if condition. That is kind of like creating a bucket. You can define the range inside the table and use that different custom ranges in the chart. So that would be the solution for now. We will check the possibilities to handle certain things in future. And the next question, the situation is I create a dashboard in my developer instance. I support multiple customers and I want to install my dashboard to customer, which each of them is using different Zoho Analytics instance. That's a very good requirement on this. The one information I just want to update here is we are working on a feature which will be supporting this seamlessly through the user interface. But for now, you have to use the copy reports API. So this is possible. You can copy all the reports and dashboards that you built from one instance to another. It could be one account to another account or one workspace to another workspace within same account. All you need to do is you need to use the copy reports API in Zoho Analytics. You can find this API help documentation. If you click on help at the right hand side top corner and choose the API documentation or help center where you can explore it. But the good news is we are planning to support a feature that will help us to automatically do this through the user interface. We have a few more questions. I'll try to speed up and answer that quickly. How I can do that? Is there a possible to? Okay, all right. So I think the question is a follow-up. Once again, it's through the REST API. So all you need to do is check out the API help doc. So switching to the next question from Luciano, that if Ziya able to understand in other languages? Well, that's more exciting. Currently, we support only in English, but the good news is we started working on other languages, which is under development. So we have plans to support Spanish as the next language. So soon you will see that in the product, probably in next few months from here. And I have a question from Suresh that do we need to use the same field names for Ziya to identify or understand? That's a very good question, Suresh. Ziya is absolutely customizable and trainable, meaning, let's say you have a table with two columns. Let's say one is called sales and the other column called date. Now, instead of sales, if you prefer to use some other keywords, for example, income, revenue, or something like that, then inside the Ziya screen, at the right-hand side, you have the option to define these synonyms, priorities, and everything. So you can completely train the Ziya based on your requirement. You can do that either by right-click the specific column in the table and choose As Ziya in the menu, or inside the As Ziya tab at the left, you can click on the settings to do it. So this will be super helpful for many users, because typically one administrator who configure all these reports. So if the administrator train the Ziya completely and provide access to all the users within an organization, it has the privilege, it gives the privilege that all the users can do their own analysis without understanding the data model and all of the stuff. They can just ask the questions, get insights right away, as long as the Ziya is trained for the custom domain. So definitely you can do it. Just to add one more point on top of it, for all the business integrations, I mean, all the business apps integrations, we do have it pre-trained with most of the keywords, but also you can train it with your own custom words. And I have a question from Rohini that can we add our own suggestions to As Ziya? Yes, I think that's the follow-up question to previous question. Yes, of course, you can go ahead and train Ziya completely based on your requirement. The next question from Jaydeep, that when will Zoho Analytics integrate with Zoho Sprints? Once again, good news coming up, Jaydeep. The integration is under development. You can expect this shortly in the product. So probably in next few weeks or probably in a couple of months at the max. But the good news is it's almost in the completion stage. So I have a question from Henry that for Sage integration, is it reference to Sage X3 MS SQL DB? Well, not exactly, Henry. Currently, we connect the Sage accounting version. We are yet to connect a whole lot of different versions in the Sage. It's something in our to-do list. For now, we have the direct integration with Sage Accounting. And also, as long as you have the backend databases which supports the JDBC, as a matter of fact, it can be any given business applications, not just specific towards the Sage. You can go ahead and configure the integrations. More feature request, I guess, from another person. That the question is there an integration with Oracle EBS? Currently, it is not, but we are planning to support Oracle NetSuite in future. But currently, we do not support anything. And I think we have a lot of questions. Probably it's hard to answer everything right away. So I think from here, probably I will take one more question, and then we will have the team to answer the questions through the email after this webinar. So I got a question from Edum that are there personal configurations to be done before using the solutions like admin or software configuration? So I think the question is focused on Ziya, and once again, it's more often like training, but I just want to confirm that again, as long as you connect any business applications, you'll be able to find all the predefined synonyms in place. but of course, you can customize it on your own. All right. So with that, I think we will catch up with you all through the email to answer your questions in follow. With that, thank you so much for your time today during the Q&A. Let me hand it over to Ashwin. Over to you, Ashwin.
Thank you very much, Silas, for anchoring the Q&A session. Folks, you can write to us on support@zoanalytics.com. You can explore these powerful features that we discussed today on zoho.com/analytics. Today, we have just discussed the key features. Now, you want to stay up to date on what's new? You can always check that out on zoho.com/analytics/help/what's new. And that's it for the day, folks. Thank you very much for sticking along. Have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.